This is the Ordinary Business Podcast for business owners who want honest conversations, a lean business, and an extraordinary life on their own terms. Andi, what is your go-to music when you are working?
Okay, so it kind of depends. Truly, my go-to baseline is instrumental. I have a reading in a cozy library, but also I really and now I'm going to blank on her name, Olivia Dean. I love her.
Yes.
I really love her. So I will just listen to her in the background. Sometimes I get distracted though by her. And so then I switch back to instrumental. So pretty much, yeah.
Well, we are chatting today about Pinterest and how you use it in your business and how it helps you and all the things. But before we do that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Totally. So my name is Andi Smiley. I have been podcasting in some form or fashion for almost 7 years. That's crazy.
Nice.
I've had my own show for 4.5 years. And then before that I was a radio producer. So I'm kind of just into audio stuff. And in between being a radio producer and having my own show, I had 3 kids. So I'm the mom of 3. And I really like podcasts and just the audio. Audiobooks are also my jam. Really just into audio.
Okay. So you mentioned you're a mom of some littles. And so you have a shorter work day because of school, just like me.
Yes.
What did marketing look like before you started getting into Pinterest?
I have to tell you, my day is so short because I have a preschooler. So I have roughly 2 hours a day to work. And that's, okay. But I do have Mondays. On Mondays, my husband doesn't work. So I work all day on Mondays. And then the rest of the week, I get 2 hours a day. And so, marketing felt so frantic, constantly being okay, I just have to do something so that people know that I exist. And it was, always frantic, always coming from this lack mentality of I just have to put something out there, because on top of marketing, I'm also doing all of the other things, helping clients, putting out episodes, because I'm also a one-woman show. But it definitely was super frantic. And all of the basic places like Instagram. I would try to do podcast interviews, but I didn't. At the time, I feel like I was not. I don't know. I feel like I wasn't giving myself enough time to find quality podcast interviews to do. And so I feel like I was just relying way too much on Instagram and trying to send emails, but not doing a great job at that either. So I feel like it was mostly Instagram, which if any podcasters that are listening are honey, that's the worst. That's the worst way to market your podcast. So yeah. And I knew that in my heart of hearts, but it felt like that was the only thing that I could do that felt easy enough to actually get done. So
yeah. And I know a lot of parents and honestly even not parents that it's easy when things are chaotic. You don't have a full day, or you're just swamped with client work. Marketing is the first thing that falls by the wayside, because we're not going to let client work fall by the wayside.
No.
So it's always our own thing. So tell us what made you decide oh, let me add Pinterest to this, because when people feel frantic, usually it's not add another platform to the mix.
So I first was introduced to Pinterest as a marketing tool for my business several years ago, actually. She was like, have you ever thought about Pinterest for your business? And I hadn't. I was like, okay. But I will say that Pinterest is really great for business marketing, in my opinion, obviously.
Yeah.
But I will say that you have to, as a podcaster specifically, you have to go at it a little bit different than most businesses, just because you don't want people to just click and read. It's usually you want them to click and listen. And so you have to go about it a little bit differently. But I was like, you know what? Let me try and see if this will work for me. And on and off for the next couple of years, I would try out Pinterest, but but it usually got pushed to the wayside eventually because it was like, no, I have too many other things to do. And then last I will say like a year ago, last winter, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do one pin a week, like literally one pin a week, one pin per episode, just to try it. Let's see what happens. And luckily, because it was just one pin a week, it was not hard. Like I can do that. And several months into that, one of my pins went quote unquote viral. It was viral for me.
Right.
How many? Probably like, it doesn't even sound like much. Probably like 2 or 3,000 views, which honestly I know doesn't sound like a lot, but for Pinterest, that's actually a decent amount because Pinterest users are doers more than just like they're there to do something about what you're giving them instead of just being entertained. And I did see a bump in my downloads and I was like, whoa, okay, hi. This is with just one pin a week. Let's see, and that was probably in the spring because Pinterest is definitely like a snowball effect. Like it takes a minute for stuff to start gaining traction. And that was in the spring and I was like, you know what, let's bump it to 3 pins a week. I'm so aggressive, as you can see. I'm doing the bare minimum everywhere. So then I was like, okay, 3 pins a week, let's do it. 3 pins per episode. So I tried that and I was like, you know what? This is so much easier than Instagram. Like making pins when I first started making pins, it was hard and it took me a long time. But once I kind of found my rhythm and like found the pins that worked well for my audience and were easy to make, I could crank out a bunch of pins really quickly. And then I was done for the week. I would just schedule them and I didn't have to like show up in stories or anything like that or, any of those things. And so now, so to answer your second question of like, does it look different now? Yes. When I first started, like I said, there's 1 pin a week. Like it was bare minimum, but it was something. It was getting me out there on the Pinterest platform. And Pinterest, like I said, is, in my opinion, a better fit for podcasters in general, just because when people go there, Pinterest users are there to learn, to take some sort of action compared to just being entertained like on most social media apps. And so I saw that and I saw that it was working. So then I bumped it to 3. And now I actually do 1 pin a day. And my husband didn't even know that. He was like, wait, you're doing 1 pin every single day? I was like, well, I schedule them out like at least a week in advance. He was like, oh, okay, that sounds better. He was like, how are you doing that? I'm like, actually, there are so many people that do even more than that. And I am not there yet. But 1 pin a day has truly helped me grow faster. Like I do see that doing more pins does help me grow faster, but I've done it in a way that like it's not overwhelming. Like if I were to try to do 1 pin a day when I first started, I would have fallen off the bandwagon like week 2. Like it's just too much. But because I built up to it and I'm used to it now, it works for me.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm curious, initially when you started with the just 1 pin, were you like repurposing the graphic that you probably posted, on Instagram or Facebook or whatever? Like, was it like, oh, here's the graphic for this week's episode and I'm just gonna like boop boop like post it everywhere? Or were you actually creating like a separate pin, like
I would
different
make a
graphic?
separate pin for me because I wanted it to, I don't know, it looked better. I feel like it was more of a Pinterest pin rather than just like a normal graphic. But let me be clear, I don't make graphics for my podcast. So like it's not like there was like a graphic that I was posting everywhere and then I would do something different for Pinterest. Nah, there was none of that. It was like I'd make a reel for Instagram/TikTok and then I'd make a pin for Pinterest.
In your opinion, are you like, well, you really need to like have a separate pin graphic, or could they use that same Canva graphic on Instagram and Pinterest and LinkedIn?
I would say if you're overwhelmed but you want to try Pinterest, do the graphic. But I will say make sure that you use, for the pin title and the pin description, try and use SEO keywords that help find your people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say like, because usually your graphic says something like, this is this week's episode. This is what it's about. So like if people are interested, then yeah, they're probably going to click it. But to help your people find you, make sure your pin title and description are using words that they're going to type into the search bar on Pinterest to help them find you.
Yeah. So then now you do a pin every day. So I'm curious, are you doing different pins are you doing like 5 different pins for each episode, or are you like 1 or 2 pins for each episode and you're just like reposting them multiple times?
Oh, different pin every time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. For me, I feel like weirdly, I know that this is not the case like universally, but for me that feels really inauthentic to just do the same pin and just like change, like tweak, like I don't know. And truly, but one thing, so I also take seasonal breaks. Currently I'm not putting out episodes, so I'm just doing pins for past episodes, and I just keep doing new pins for those. And I've been super busy the past month because I launched a new like package, like offer. And so truly I got on Fiverr and found my favorite Fiverr person and was like, hi, I need 30 days worth of pins for me, for my shows. Here are my episodes. Here are my SEO keywords. Here's everything. And they just made me 30 days worth of pins because I was like, I need to stay consistent, but also I am so busy right now. Yeah. And it worked. I feel like it was one of those things, again, control is a hard thing, but to like let go, and the pins aren't perfect, but it's like, you know what, I'm getting my stuff out there, and that's what needed to happen for the past. I'm almost done with those pins.
So now the next thing I want to ask is there anything like about Pinterest that surprised you once you became really consistent and like posting more?
Truly, okay. It's going to be a slightly lame answer. I am so sorry to everyone listening, but it's like my like mental health got better. Like I feel like, yes, my show is growing, but it's not like some giant skyrocket. It like took off. But not only do I have more time because I don't post on Instagram currently. I probably will again eventually. Like I do it. I post in stories most days when I think about it and I like have something to say. But like I just don't really post anywhere else about my podcast specifically. Just Pinterest because I don't have time for anything else, and it's been working. So it's like, why would I change something that's not working? So I feel like my mental health is so much better because I'm not stressing about social media.
The Ordinary Business Summit is coming back, and it's happening April 1st and 2nd. To see who all is speaking and to join the wait list for discounted tickets, go to theordinarybusiness.com.
Even though I'm not posting, like on Instagram, my show is still growing, and I'm making my money from my offers. So like, I'm like, you know what? This is working. So we're just going to keep doing this until I have more capacity or something feels like it needs to change. But for right now, it's like my show's growing, like steadily growing. It's not, like I said, not skyrocketing, and I don't have to post on social media. And it's just kind of like, this is maybe the best thing that's happened to me in a while. So, yeah. So I feel like I wish I had like I made $1 million since I started posting on Pinterest.
No. This is the ordinary business. We don't care about it being not 1 million views or $1 million. Like, I love that it gave you enough like views and traction that you were able to just not have to show up on Instagram in the same way. Like, gave you kind of a break. Like, I know you're still in stories, but you're not having to like post and feel that frantic. Like, to me, that's a huge win that you get to take a break. I know a lot of people are very tired of Instagram. And so you feeling like, you know what, I can take a break. I can step away from this, from posting on the feed, whatever. Is this break from Instagram kind of recent, or was it like...
I know I didn't post regularly in the fall, but it could have been sooner than that, and I just don't remember right now. I stopped prioritizing Instagram this past summer when I was like, you know what, Pinterest is working. My episodes are doing fine because I'm doing Pinterest. If I want to talk about my offers, then I can do that. But
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. How has this shifted how you think about your marketing?
I truly, like, the biggest thing that it shifted is kind of my mindset around marketing. It's not going to be one viral post that's going to make me, like, rich. I don't know, like, make me make tons of money. Like, it's the steady, like, 1 pin a day, you know, get I don't know, like, 1 pin a day. I fluctuate between 1 or 2 emails a week depending on how I'm feeling and what I'm selling at the time. But, like, it's like there's not going to be a silver bullet. It's just showing up in the places where your people are. And luckily for me, Pinterest is one of those places, and so I'm able to show up in a way that is easy for me and helps my podcast grow.
I know the like primary objective of being on Pinterest is just views and like downloads for the podcast, but have you had any like, I don't know if you do podcast sponsors, but like have you gotten any like sponsors or like someone apply to be a guest and they're like, I found you on Pinterest? Or is it strictly just been like downloads?
My biggest thing is downloads for sure, but I also do like I have pins about my like email magnet. So like I'll get emails through Pinterest. And then Pinterest isn't usually the way that I find clients per se, but I usually have a couple pins about like my low ticket offers because like why not? And what I've noticed is people usually will find a pin, listen to the episode, and then hear my like self-sponsor ad in there for either my email freebie or I used to do I called them podcast jumpstart sessions, which was like a free like 30-minute call with me where I could like talk you through how to start a podcast.
Yeah.
And I would get people that way too. And they'd be like, well, I found you on Pinterest. And then I listened to your episode and I was like, oh my gosh, she has free jumpstart sessions. Yes, please. And so it was kind of like a process, but the process started on Pinterest.
Yeah, that makes sense. So there's multiple benefits to Pinterest, which is cool because like it's not just the downloads, but you're getting like the emails and stuff, even though you're still mostly posting about the podcast. But thank you so much for sharing your insight. I know there's other podcasters who are listening. Where can we connect with you online to learn more about what you do and listen to your podcast?
Yeah. Okay. So like I said, I don't really hang out on Instagram, but I do love Threads, Friendly Podcast Guide. And then you can find my podcast on any podcast app at Friendly Podcast Guide. And then if you have listened to this whole thing and you're like, Pinterest might be for me, but I'm not totally sure, I do have a free download. It's a checklist to help you know if your podcast is a good fit for Pinterest.
Awesome. Okay, well, I will link to everything in the show notes so y'all can go check it out. But thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been an absolute delight.